Joe Biden has been one of the most consequential presidents in American history. He has put people over politics and patriotism over personal position. And this is another heroic act in a long-running series of heroic acts by Joe Biden on behalf of the American people from the moment he was first elected back in 1972 to the United States Senate.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries yesterday praising President Biden's political career following the president's decision to withdraw from the race. Biden made the announcement in a letter posted to his social media accounts yesterday afternoon, writing in part, "I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." Shortly after that announcement, President Biden endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to take his place this November and called on Democrats to come together to defeat Donald Trump. Willie?
So where does this go from here? Although President Biden did endorse Vice President Harris to replace him at the top of the ticket, the Democratic nomination technically does not automatically transfer to the vice president. A spokesperson for the Democratic National Committee said last night it is now the committee's responsibility to implement a framework to select a new nominee, which will be, quote, open, transparent, fair, and orderly. The DNC Rules Committee will hold a public meeting Wednesday afternoon, which also will stream on the DNC's YouTube channel. The party co-chairs have promised the process will be comprehensive, fair, and expeditious. Exactly when Democrats will choose a nominee, unclear this morning. It's also unclear if the party will continue to move forward with that virtual roll call scheduled for the first week of August, a move that was made to avoid a ballot deadline issue in Ohio, but which since has been resolved. The party does unite behind Harris, which it appears to be doing this morning. It could decide to formally nominate her through the virtual vote before August 7th. The convention is set to begin on August the 19th. So what happens to Biden's delegates? The only requirement for delegates under current convention rules is to, quote, in all good conscience reflect the sentiments of those who elected them. But since Biden left the race, his delegates are free to support whoever they choose. The president does not have to release his delegates. So we'll pause there, Joe.
Yeah.
And the delegates are part of the
Because I think it was good at the top of the show. I think we should read all the subsections of the Democratic National Committee's charter. And Alex, could we go on a couple more hours on that? Because I don't think anybody wants reactions to anybody.
I saw where that was headed. I mean, an executive decision to cut it off.
Thank you.
But let's talk about how extraordinary this moment is. We'll talk about the technicalities of it in just a moment. But it came to a point, as you know well, Joe, having talked to so many people inside the campaign, and John is reporting this morning, that President Biden received information. He received polling. He heard about the donors drying up, that the money was stopping.
Right.
He got hard data from a couple of people he really trusts on the innermost, not just the inner circle, the innermost 2 or 3 people who told him,
right,
this doesn't look good for you or your legacy.
Doesn't look good, and we'll go through the specifics, but why don't we show Americans some of the headlines? And let's start with the New York Times. Biden bows out. Just extraordinary. Late reversal upends the race for the White House as president endorses Harris to lead the ticket.
Here's the Wall Street Journal. If you can pop that up there, guys. Push in a little bit. Biden drops out, endorses Harris. And, of course, you've got some of the tabloids here in New York City. Joe's out. And the New York Post's writing simply the end for Joe Biden.
Yeah, and so there had been some talk for quite some time. On Friday, Mark Halperin broke news actually on X. He laid out what was going to be coming on Sunday. There still was a lot of confusion, though, as you said, inside of the campaign. And there was growing anger inside of the campaign. And John, we talked about this, growing anger inside of the campaign. And we'll just say it. Anger at Steve Ricchetti and anger at Mike Donilon, that the campaign believed, and people inside the White House who loved Joe Biden believed, they weren't giving the straight story to Joe Biden. That changed Friday night. Word started spreading around the campaign. Message received by Ricchetti. Ricchetti and Donlin were going to get the information together, especially Ricchetti, and he was going to go deliver the bad news to the president this weekend.
Yeah,
what can you tell us?
Here's what happened this weekend in Rehoboth Beach. The president, of course, still battling COVID, still isolating at his family home, summoning his two closest aides, Donlin and Ricchetti. They were there for him in 2016 when he decided not to run. They were there again in 2019 when he decided to jump into that campaign. They are his closest advisors, and then they presented him Saturday morning with new information. As we reported exclusively, new battleground state polls that show the president down in all 7 battlegrounds, and also support really slipping in places that Democrats have won now for cycles. Virginia, New Mexico, Colorado, all of those now in jeopardy.
And by the way, let's say this, too, and I think everybody needs to understand this. It wasn't just the debate performance that was causing concerns. I'll have you get back to that in 1 second. But really quickly, John Heilman, Joe Biden was already starting to slip in Minnesota, in New Hampshire, in Virginia, and a lot of these states that weren't swing states even before the debate. And that was causing an uneasiness in Biden world.
New Mexico, New Jersey, where Donald Trump in some polling it was within a point or two. And I think just as you said quickly, this information that Biden got on Saturday was new to Biden, was not new to others. And some of this polling had been around for several days. And one of the frustrations that people like Nancy Pelosi had was Joe Biden is not getting this information. He's being shielded from it. At one point, actually summoning Mike Donilon on the phone in one of her conversations with Joe Biden and saying, Mr. President, let's get Mike Donilon on the phone and talk about the polls. And so I think finally, the information, all of this is recent information, obviously, but it was new to Joe Biden to be presented with things that Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi were well acquainted with. A lot of other Democrats knew in the numbers.
And by the way, just to be really clear here, and Jonathan, I'll let you finish up on this. To be really clear, Ricchetti and Donlin loved Biden. They had heard Biden counted out time and time and time again. The family had heard the Democratic establishment just absolutely shit on Joe Biden time and time and time again. And what did he do? He always exceeded expectations. He became president of the United States, as we all remember, in 2020, with the entire Democratic establishment mocking him, saying he wasn't good enough, he wasn't up to it. So, as a background, you can understand why Ricchetti and Donlin said, hey, let's do it again, Rocky. Come on, one more fight, you can do it.
Yeah, and the First Lady and the President's son, Hunter, also firmly behind his decision to stay in the race. They still believed he could win. And as of Saturday morning, President Biden was still intending to stay in this race. But then he talked to his closest aides as the day went on, summoned the family, and then made the decision to bow out because of those polls, because the fundraising dramatically drying up, and because so many Democratic lawmakers had spoken out against him. Now, some of the heavyweights, Schumer, Pelosi, Jeffries, had done so privately. Fears in the Biden camp that was about to change, that if the president had stayed in the race as this week went on, that those leaders, namely Pelosi, were going to go public with the polling, with their concerns, with a call for the president to bow out. Doing so yesterday was a face-saving move. The president and his family wanted to save his reputation and choose his own terms of exit.
All reporting we had throughout the weekend was that Monday was going to be brutal for the president. So yesterday really seemed to be the best time for him to get out. So that's the reporting about what happened this weekend. Mika, I'd love first to get your reaction because you obviously have strongly supported Joe Biden. You still believe that he would have been the best chance to beat Donald Trump because he's the only one who's done it before. I'm just curious what your thoughts are this morning.
Well, obviously, on many levels, I'm really sad. Joe Biden is a patriot. I love him. I love his family, and I love what he's done for the country. He had authenticity and touch, whether you saw it or not. But everything about him, even sometimes the stutter and the bumbling, was part of the touch, part of the sort of empathic, very loving, very clear-eyed touch that he had that allowed him and enabled him to be an effective president. But all of that turned against him after the debate for all the reasons that we discussed. And he would say, no time to complain about it. Let's move on. It's go time. And Democrats really have a moment of momentum here. And my hope is that they grab it and run with it, get unified, get organized, get coordinated. No more infighting. Donald Trump is not easy to beat. He is not easy to beat, and anyone who thinks he is back at 2016 when they're laughing at the concept. And you can see how quickly they tried to steal the unity narrative. And I've heard from inside Republican circles and right-wing media that the hate campaign against Kamala Harris has begun. You'll notice they purposefully pronounce her name wrong. They say Kamala. They do it all the time. It is on purpose. But the talk is to start that hate campaign and get it going and start it churning. So my hope is that major Democrats and major Republicans, from the Obamas to the Bush family to military leaders, get behind the democracy ticket and we move on. And throughout the show today, we'll see, Willie, if leading Democrats are going to get on board with Kamala Harris. We'll be hearing from some for the first time and seeing if there are some endorsements this morning. Willie?
Yeah,